Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Michael Zuber with One Rental at a Time. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I am here. It is Thursday with Dion from Dion Talk. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy, Mike. I'm doing good. Happy to be back.
Yes. One of the things that we're going to do today, at least two of our three interviews are actually going to be questions from the One Rental at a Time Works community. For those that don't know, I have an awesome course called How to Get Started with One Rental at a Time. About a year or so after I created it, I created a private Facebook group just for students. And now we have more and more students and more experts contributing. So Dion, I'm going to read a question and we're just going to talk about it and see where it goes. You cool with that?
Works for me.
All right. So I'm going to read it here from my phone. So I'm going to look down. Okay. So, hi all, just joined this family. I'm currently living in San Diego. I am confused as to which way to kickstart my real estate investment journey, i.e. if I should house hack or go out of state. I would probably be in this place for another 2 to 3 years and then might move wherever my career takes me to. So I was hoping to house hack meanwhile and turn it into a rental later. Problem with house hacking in San Diego is negative cash flow. Some rents don't even cover principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And there are others which break even but go negative when monthly reserves are included. Alligator property in Michael Zuber terms. Some properties I can see that with potential rent increases, it can start to cash flow after a few years, 2 to 3. Not sure if I should take the risk or just focus on building a portfolio out of state. Let me know your thoughts. So there's a lot in that. Happy to read anything again if you want me to, but what are your first thoughts?
So those are two very different animals.
Yes.
House hacking or investing where you live or investing in another state, because investing in another state takes learning a completely different system. Anytime I talk to somebody in a high cost of living area, there's so many different versions of house hacking. Some of us had roommates in the past, or some people have roommates now. That's a form of house hacking. Then a lot of people think I'll buy a house and rent out rooms, and when I move out, this will become a rental, which is what it sounds like this person was talking about. That when they move out, the rents will barely cover the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, which is the way it is in my area. So that's why I have to go for small multifamily, because a single family house just can't cash flow. Everyone I've seen so far has been an alligator. But with small multifamily, while you're living there, it might cost you some money. My first house hack was a duplex, and I was paying about $300 a month towards the mortgage to live there. Once I moved out, it started the cash flow.
Yeah.
So in the higher cost of area, and it scales, a duplex is not going to cash flow as much as a triplex or a fourplex. Depending on the price that you pay and the rents in the area, all of that are factors.
Yeah.
But in San Diego, it's not like it's one centralized city. There are several suburbs, just like Tacoma has several suburbs. And while I have addresses for some of my rentals in Tacoma, none of my rentals are in the city of Tacoma. They're around it. It's like a 20-minute drive to get to Tacoma. So if this person's working in San Diego and they want a house hack, how far are they willing to drive?
Yep.
And in which direction are they looking? Because the further you get away from the beach, the property prices can change. Neighborhood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Up into the hills a little bit. So I kind of have a jaded opinion, because I think house hacking is usually the solution, but it's not always the only solution.
Yeah, I think there's investing. I think there's a couple of things in this one. So we're going to start with the house hacking, because my opinion only, haven't talked to this person, saw the I've seen as much of you as you've heard, right? That's all I know. And first off, if you're only going to live in a place 2 or 3 years, especially in a high priced area of California, that's too short term for me, right? That's almost like betting on appreciation. And that's like a hot stove, like don't touch that, right? That's kind of a no-brainer to me. But I think your point is valid. When I read this, I sense, even though it doesn't say house hacking as in a house, a single family home. And I think your point is very valid. What if you sucked it up and you lived in a a traditional triplex or fourplex where they're all connected. Maybe it's not ideal. Maybe it's not what you envision. Maybe it wouldn't be cool to your friends and family, but hey, it's probably going to have you live there, if not for free, pretty cheaply, as your first duplex did. And then when you do exit or leave for the job, as you say, it certainly should be positive when that extra unit is rented. That's kind of what I sensed.
And anytime somebody says, I live in a high cost of living area, it's going to cost me money to live here, house hacking won't work. I just referenced Brandon from Bigger Pockets, who's living in Hawaii in a triplex, where
Yeah.
even using one of the units for the business, he's still living there rent free. So he could be making money.
Yeah.
There's an asset class that a lot of investors miss. And it's kind of not that there's a secret to one rental at a time, but this is a strategy that I've helped people in areas where they say, well, there's no duplexes or triplexes or fourplexes in my area. There's no small multifamily.
Mm.
In almost every market, there are houses with ADUs.
Yes.
So a mother-in-law house, some people will call it, but it's basically two houses on one property. Numbers work just like a duplex.
Mm-hmm.
Home buyers don't want it because they're not looking to have tenants, and investors often miss it because they put small multifamily in their search criteria. They forget to just put those three letters, ADU, auxiliary dwelling unit.
Mm-hmm.
And in a place like San Diego, that might be a way to, live very close to almost for free, just like in a duplex, but still have that the autonomy of your house where you don't have any walls touching someone else's wall, where people don't want to live that way. So that's what I would do. And then again, we're just talking about how to solve it while they're living in San Diego, investing at a distance. The first skill set you'd have to learn is how to narrow down which market you're going to look at. And then I would start with, David Green's book, the book on long distance investing, to even learn the strategy of how do you get the team in place, because you need a tactical advantage, whether that's boots on the ground, someone in the area, you used to live there, the neighborhoods, because I know we all live in an area where we know the parts of town not to go to. We don't know those parts of town in all of the other parts of the country.
Yeah, not even close. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the other thing, again, this is a new student, just got the course. What I just have to keep reminding people is I'm trying to teach a skill. I don't know a better analogy than a golf swing, right? The first time you pick up a golf club, it's the most uncoordinated thing you've ever done. But the more time you practice, swing, try to hit a ball, get a bucket of balls, another bucket, you get better at it. So when you're new to the course, I strongly suggest in this example, just research San Diego, because that way, at least you can go kick rocks. You could go see them. You can go visit them. You're not jumping on a plane or simply relying on Google Maps or Street Views or whatever. So again, the first thing I would tell the student is your job in the first 90 days is to learn the skill of learning a market. Might as well make it San Diego. Might as well make it San Diego small multifamilies. Let's just learn it. At the end of that, you might say, you know what? San Diego, I've learned it. I can get 4% out of this or that. Once in a while, I can get a 6. That's not enough for me. That's an acceptable answer, but you've spent 90 days learning that skill. So then when you do go out of state, you're not learning that skill and building a team, right? You're like, who are the boots on the ground? Who are the realtors? Who's the lender? Who's this? Who's that? If you mix those things together, it's probably not going to end well. So what I would tell someone, and I've told everybody that's asked, hey, I don't care if you live in Los Gatos, California, which is some of the most expensive in the world. Pick something local that you can drive by on the weekend and just learn the skill. Yes, you might be learning a 1% or maybe even negative in Los Gatos, but at least you're learning. And then you can take that skill anywhere. Because once you learn a golf swing on a driving range, you can go to any golf course across the country and play a little bit of golf. So it's kind of the same thing.
Hopefully people made it this far in the video, because my brain works a little slow sometimes. But there's one other big aspect between investing where you are and investing at a distance. And that is the benefits to house hacking with owner financing.
True.
Down payments less than 20%, less than 15% in some cases, even for small multifamily, versus being an investor in another state, having to come up with a bigger down payment, having the higher interest rate because you're not owner occupying.
Very true.
Plus, small multifamily has another bump to finance, to the interest rate based on a single family house. So there's a few other reasons why looking in your area are beneficial when you're first starting out. How much money you have to save, how much money you have to invest, your timeline. And if this person has a job where they're going to move every 2 to 3 years, depending on where their job takes them, it's kind of like there's a group, active duty passive income, where they talk to service members about how to get passive income going while you're in the military, so you're set up for when you get out. It's a great group with a ton of awesome information. But that's one of the benefits to the military, is that you're going to change duty stations every now and then, and you can kind of get rentals in several different states, so that you're very well diversified, so that something happening in Washington that affects rents isn't going to affect your whole portfolio. So I agree with you. This person, he or she, should definitely look at San Diego.
And then the other thing I'll say, and we'll wrap this first question up, is I think a lot of people who live in an expensive area kind of default to always thinking it's an expensive area, right? It's like, oh, I live here, it's always been this way. And it's only because you see like 5% of the city. You just see the side 5% all the time. If you actually started looking for deals, I mean, like Olivia and I, literally like 2 days ago, we were driving back from Costco and we're like, we've never gone this direction. Let's go this direction. And we uncovered a whole neighborhood, and we've been here 30 years, right? A whole nother area with small multifamilies. I'm like, I did not know this was here, right? So
I went to a local REI meetup recently, and I was talking to some friends there, and they said, our market's so crazy, we can't find anything. And throughout the conversation, I found out that they didn't have any searches set up. They don't have access to the MLS. The market is so crazy is based off of Facebook memes, I think, because
just talking, right?
You don't know how crazy the market is. Right.
Hopefully
they started looking.
There you go. Yeah. Do the search, do the work, folks, do the work. But again, you're in an expensive area. It's okay. It's generally easier to learn the skill, again, the golf swing, in your backyard. It may not be where you choose to deploy the golf swing once you've done, but it's best to learn there, because you got to go walk the properties. It's nice to see and feel them. And, why is this one rent for more than that one? And just a lot more you can do when it's in your backyard. So Dion, thank you very much. Any closing thoughts?
No,
very cool.